Good morning. First of all, 4 points quickly on behalf of the European Parliament. First of all, when we say Ukraine is Europe and Europe is Ukraine, that means that accession negotiations need to start as soon as possible, and that means hopefully by this year. We are impressed with the progress that the Ukrainians have made with the recommendations of the European Commission. I believe, and the Parliament believes, that we have to match that progress with efficiency and speed on behalf of our side. Secondly, on sanctions, we need to go further. We still have gaps. We have done unprecedented work with the amount of packages that we have adopted, but there are still too many gaps that are abused. There are still further that we can go. Sanctions hurt, they work, and if our threat is existential, then our response needs to be proportionate. Thirdly, on accountability. I'm here for a conference on the setting up of a special tribunal. When we talk about peace, we need to talk about accountability. Whoever is responsible for these crimes needs to pay, and that means that if we find jurisdiction for the crime of aggression, then we need to find the legal means to do it. Lastly, and most importantly, on weapons. Ukraine needs the weapons to defend itself. We have already given 3.1 billion euros through the European Peace Facility to Ukraine, but it is clear that more is needed. If we want to have a safe Europe, we need to have a safe Ukraine. If we want to have a safe neighborhood, then our neighbors need to be safe, and therefore we need more weapons, we need more artillery, and air defense should be considered.
What especially has to be done? That's my first question. And I also want to ask about prosecution for Vladimir Putin and higher persons in Russia. How do you think, for how long it can take to create such special tribunal for them?
I'll start with the second question. First of all, what I have heard now from Prosecutor General Kostin is that so much progress has taken place. We have seen extremely good proposals on the table. We will meet with the United Nations personnel. We need to make sure that we have the mechanisms, first of all, to collect the evidence, but then to prosecute them. We understand that in order to make sure that Article 8 bis of the Rome Statute, in other words, that the crime of aggression is covered, then the special tribunal needs to be created. It is no longer a matter of how, it is a matter of when. And even now that we see already the cases that are being prosecuted in Ukraine, the information that is being gathered by different member states, by the United States, by the United Kingdom, it is about bringing persons accountable, including Vladimir Putin, to justice. Without that, we will not have peace. And that is the fundamental reason also why I am here today. On sanctions, first of all, we look at where we have come. Unprecedented in terms of the amount of sanctions packages that we have adopted. There are still gaps, there are still countries that abuse of that gaps. Where do we go next? If we are going to work with export bans, import bans, we talk about diamonds from Russia, we talk about members of the Duma who are close to Putin, who have a political role. Why have we not sanctioned them yet? What about companies that still are placed on European markets? I think it's about time that we start to ask the question, have we done enough? And I think universally we can say that we have not.
Some forms which different countries can agree, for example, it might be a special tribunal or hybrid, some kind of hybrid mechanism.
The European Parliament has for months now said that there is a need to create a special tribunal. Why? Because there is no current jurisdiction to prosecute the crime of aggression. What we are essentially talking about here, and we have 171 cases registered in Ukraine, we have cases that have been brought in different countries, for example in Poland and other countries. We have investigations and also seizure of assets in other countries. If we cannot find the legal solution to this, and here I talk about as a lawyer, then we would have failed Ukraine. Not only Ukraine, we would have failed everybody in this world who wants to make sure that when crimes of aggression are perpetrated on the territory of our Europe, then they are prosecuted. In terms of modalities, the UN, of course, needs to be involved. We have seen the International Criminal Court that has brought forward different ideas. The question remains, how can we manage with the waiver or the lifting of immunity. Once we reach or overcome that hurdle, then we can manage. The only thing that I don't want to see is that we get stuck at that hurdle and we find ourselves at yet another conference and we would not have found a solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you.